You probably get this a lot, bro, but your accent is so amazing. I feel like when I'm just talking to you, I'm sorry. Like, I think I got lost in like a lot of my questions and forgetting some of my questions because your accent is super cool.
Yeah.
Was that
I chuck a bit of mail on it when I'm on a podcast. I'm like,
was the accent part of how you swooned your wife? And
probably. It had to be something other than just me. So yeah, are you not willing to try because you're worried about failing or what people think? And I think that the less you can care about outside noise, eventually the more peace you'll feel anyway. Even if I had like gone to pit, entered the portal and never ended up anywhere else, it would have been cool to just say that I just did it.
And I think people don't understand just how attention to detail we are when it comes to special teams.
So I think that's what makes Australian punters particularly desirable, is that there's many things you can do with them. And then the other aspect too is that if it all turns to garbage out there, like the hand to foot speed, probably with an Australian punter is a lot quicker, because in Australian rules football, you don't have any time. You know, probably 10 years ago, it was like, we just want you to boot at 50 yards. Now it's like, okay, well, we want to run a fake. We want to do this. We want to punt the ball over there. We want to kick it to the boundary.
Yeah.
There's a lot more factors now. I guess special teams are more dynamic than ever now.
What's up, guys? Welcome back with another episode of Inside the Y. I'm Hinkley Rapati, your host, and today we got a really special guest, or should I say specialist guest. We have Vander Haar with us today. So Sam, appreciate you seriously, man, for taking time out of your busy schedule, you know, especially in the middle of the season, and for being on here with us, man. So Sam, man, you're from Melbourne, Australia, right? How do you guys say it? Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
Talk about that, man. How someone from Melbourne, Australia ends up here in Provo, Utah, man?
Yeah, it's kind of been like a whirlwind, like thinking, like reflecting on it, and I'm sure I'll reflect on it more once I'm done with my career. But I was playing Australian rules football. Well, first I obviously finished high school, and then I was working for my dad, selling swimming pools for about 8 years, and then I joined ProKick Australia, which is like a punting program where like a bunch of pretty much all the FBS punters that are over here.
So did you get recruited for that, the ProKick?
Yeah, so Australia, you do like an assessment.
How did you come across that?
Yeah, so I actually came across it through a guy I used to play Aussie Rules football with. He was playing at UCLA, but he played for Frankston, which is a team I played for in Australian rules football. And I saw him post on Facebook saying something like, not bad for a kid that never graduated high school. And, and he was him at UCLA graduating. And I was like, what's this about? And so I sort of looked into it and found out that he went through ProKick Australia. And I was like, what's ProKick Australia? Like, what is this? And then shortly thereafter, I kind of inquired to them about, you know, what the program is and like what it entails. And so, just went from there, did an assessment, and then they sort of deemed that they thought that I could have an opportunity to come over here on scholarship. So the program is basically you try out. If you get in, it's them basically sort of saying, we think we can get you over here on scholarship within 12 to 18 months.
And how many athletes do they usually take, like within a period, I guess?
Yeah, so they try and get guys over in the June and January period, because June is obviously right before fall camp and January's heading into spring ball. So they try and get guys each period, probably 10 to 15 of them each time.
Oh, wow.
Now, that was when I was there. Like, we had quite a few guys go over. You know, it really just depends on the needs. It's just like the NFL, right? With positions, it's, you know, supply and demand. So it'll really just depend. But yeah, typically about 10 to 15 guys go over each cycle. And I was very fortunate when I was a ProKick where like the 10 to 15 of us that headed over, we were like all best friends. Like, so it was really, really cool. I'm actually playing Ollie Straw this week at West Virginia, who's like one of my best mates. He came through ProKick the same time. So yeah, that's a long-winded story. But yeah, so go through ProKick, train there for a little bit. When they sort of deem that you're ready to get some film, you'll start getting filmed. And then schools will sort of inquire all the time, really. They'll be like, hey, what have you got? And if ProKick think they don't have much available at the time, they'll be like, we have this kid who could be something, call us back in a few months. Yeah. They'll call back and then, you know, you'll either be ready or you won't be, depending on that situation. So, I joined ProKick in, I think it was March or April of 2020. And then I was recruited by Pitt, like began speaking to them sort of at the end of 2020.
Oh, snap.
And
That's
then,
pretty cool.
but they had a punter there. They had a punter already there. What's it called? Kirk Christodoulou, who was already the punter at Pitt. And so he had a year left. And so Pitt sort of said to me, look, we want you, but we just think we want to see a few more things. And so ProKick were like, we'll keep him here for another year. So I stayed until January of 2022. So about another 12 months after that. And then, I went to Pitt in January of 2022.
And then you ended up here, obviously, at BYU after entering the transfer portal, right?
Yeah. So I played 1 year at Pitt, and then it was a good experience. Just really wasn't for me, and probably didn't eventuate the way I wanted it to initially. And so, I mean, in hindsight, it did eventuate the way I wanted to, because BYU is a great place. But at the time, it was kind of like, all right, like this isn't for me. And so I entered the portal, and then Coach Papinga reached out, and now we're here.
Brought you over here, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Let's backtrack real quickly to, you talked about playing Australian football or Aussie rule football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so honestly, not a lot of people know about this sport, you know what I mean? And honestly don't know a lot about it, but I've heard it through you, of talking through you in our first conversations, when I first met you. And so kind of, I guess, explain like, what is Aussie football? Like it's a mixture of like, I don't know, like rugby, soccer, like it's just a very different sport. Even the field different. Itself is very different. And so
the field is probably 2.5 football fields in length, and then probably in width it's probably 1.5 football fields in width. If you to go elongated that way. So it's a really big field.
That's a big field.
36 players on the field at one time, so 18 on each team. And it's just a really high octane, violent game.
And everything is involved, right? I mean, you use your hands, feet, like.
Yeah. And it's very different to what we do with football, where it's, you're a running back, you're built to be a running back. Mm-hmm. You couldn't long snap or punt, whereas in Aussie rules, you have to be everyone that plays on the field at one time has to be able to do everything. So you have guys that are bigger and guys that are smaller for different positions, but it's offense and defense are on the field at the same time.
Wow.
Like you're all playing, it's a very free flowing kind of, once the ball's in motion, anyone can really play anywhere. Sheesh. You can run anywhere you want, so super fun game. But it was, that's what it was. And,
and from what I heard, that you had aspirations obviously to try to go pro and play pro with that. Yeah. How do you feel like your, the skill set of playing Aussie football rules and doing that, how does that translate to football and being a punter now? Yeah.
I mean, it translates massively. I wouldn't have probably got recruited or be able to be here now without it, just because it just laid the foundation for everything that I do now. The drop, the timing of the kick, a lot of it's just so ingrained in my memory and muscle memory now. I guess we always say with that, term, just from the hours and hours and hours of doing that kick. And the ball is a little bit different and the game's obviously very different, but the fundamental skill of kicking is identical. I don't really punt any different now to what I did when I played Aussie rules, except for the fact that the ball's a bit of a different shape, but it's not much different. It's not like a basketball versus a football. Yeah. It's, a football that's slightly bigger versus an NFL ball. It's very similar. So
how does that work with like, I guess the next question is, because obviously you're punting in Aussie football and things of that sort, but like, is like in football, there's obviously the operation time and things of that sort, right? And there's little different nuances that you have to consider. So like, kind of talk about what are like, I guess the things that you took away from Aussie football that helps you right now and
I think that's like in the broad sense of it. Like I think what makes Australian punters attractive to special teams coordinators particularly is that, like, say if they want to do a pro style scheme, kind of like what Ryan did when you were there. That's great. They can do that. But if that doesn't work out, they almost have an insurance plan where you can just get them to roll out like what I do. Just because most of the Aussie guys that come over here pretty much can do that. Some guys are obviously better at it than others, and hence why they'll suit a scheme at the team they're at based on that skill set. Yeah. So I think that's what makes Australian punters particularly desirable, is that there's many things you can do with them. And then the other aspect too is that you speak about like operation time, like if it all turns to garbage out there, like the hand to foot speed, probably with an Australian punter is a lot quicker, because in Australian rules football, you don't have any time. Like I grab the ball and you'll tackle me within 0.8 of a second. So it's like, I have to make a decision really fast. And so that speed of like being able to get my hand to foot, or I guess, foot to ball.
Yeah.
If I have to, it can be very, very fast. And so I think that's another, like, these are all little nuances that are like kind of like just football jargon, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of a thing that coordinators definitely look at, especially like the modern day coordinator now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, probably 10 years ago, it was like, we just want you to boot at 50 yards. Now it's like, okay, well, we want to run a fake. We want to do this. We want to punt the ball over there. We want to kick it to the boundary.
Yeah.
There's a lot more factors now. I guess special teams are more dynamic than ever now. So.
And I think people don't understand just how intricate and how attention to detail you know, we are when it comes to special teams. Coach K-Pop and also Coach Hill, I would say, make it a very big, you know, point in our team. You know, I still remember the very first meetings those guys was like I came on staff, and it was just special teams. The best teams in college football are great at special teams.
Yeah,
and you see it. I mean, you see the trend, and the teams that are, you know, performing well and playing well and our championship teams are the ones that are usually top ranked in special teams. And so I guess the next question is just kind of talk about how that the culture of how we emphasize special teams in our team, and how that affected your decision to be here in the first place.
It's awesome. Yeah, like it's actually sweet. Like I walk around the locker room and I don't have to be like, oh, does this person know me? You know, like we care about special teams at BYU, and like I felt that really quick. And like even on the sideline, like during games, like boys are always coming up like, oh, good job, or how was that, or how's the blocking? Like I'm like, wow, like you guys actually care about it, you know. And it's really, really cool. And I think that Pop and as you said, Pop and Coach Hill, who was actually coach of Tom Hackett, who was you know, probably the best rollout punter ever at Utah in like 2013. That's when Coach Hill was the coordinator there. That's where Coach Hill's knowledge comes from, I think. But yeah, they just do such a good job of, and I think Coach Hill has said before as well, that you just won't play on defense if you don't want to be on special teams.
Yep,
and
exactly.
So not only do guys not have a choice, but I think they begin to actually love it because they can see the effects of it. Like, I mean, even last year with you, like you running for that first down, then Will kicking the field goal, Utah. Yeah. Like it's somewhere in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking, I just need to get in range for Will. I need to get in range for Will.
Exactly.
You know, whereas if you change the mindset to like, oh, I just want to get a touchdown because our kicker sucks. It's just, not only is it more pressure, but it also just changes the dynamic of the group. Like I feel like you can be like, wow, like we just got to get Will within 55.
That's all it is. I mean, it definitely alleviates the pressure as an offense. You know what I mean? Knowing that we have a special teams who, you know, whether we know we're going to punt or, you know, we're going to kick a field goal, having that confidence, like we're going to be just fine. And defense, we know our defense is going to go back out there and get us that ball back and things of that sort. But like you said, I feel like now that we understand how we emphasize special teams on our team, if you look across the board, all of our special teams, we have starters, guys who are star players, you know, guys who are considered some of the best players on our team that are actually on special teams, which is not common in other teams. You know what I mean? Sometimes special teams can be an opportunity for other people or other players that are just trying to get recognition, you know what I mean? Or trying to get recognized by the coach so they can get more burn time, whether on offense and defense. And so
it's funny you say that because for our first walkthrough before Portland State, I just remember we were walking through and I just look at the guys in front of me. I'm like, dude, our punt team is stacked. Like Jack Kelly, Glasgow, Tanner Wall. Like I'm just like, dude, it's unbelievable. Like, you know, and obviously my job becomes a whole lot easier when you, and it's not to say that their talent is why we're good. It's the effort, in my opinion. For sure. It's effort over, particularly for special teams and blocking and all that. But those guys just, it also helps that obviously they understand different nuances of blocking and those things that they can pick up on quick. And so it's pretty cool that those guys want to be on it. Like I remember, and Glasgow's a good friend of mine, but I remember chatting to him and he's like, dude, I love being on punt team. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, thanks, bro, for being. And he's like, no, I like it. Yeah. Like I'm not on it for you. Sure. I actually like doing it, you know. I'm like, sweet. Well, that's good for me, you know. So
and that's just the culture we have here at BYU. And I think that's the culture that Kalani's created. It's just a matter of everyone's willing to do whatever it is to win the game. You know what I mean? And people understand that how big special teams is a part of that. We've won plenty of games because of special teams. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, I just think it's super cool. Okay. And so, but kind of going from that, you know, branching off a little bit from special teams and things of that sort. I kind of want to go back to what's that called?
ProKick?
Specific plays.
Right. Yeah.
Specific plays that I guess the question is, what plays that you've been a part of that stood out the most to you during your tenure here or during your career here at BYU?
Yeah, it's hard to go past the fake punt at
There's
Baylor.
the Utah kick, right? Obviously, you being the holder there. The fake punt at Baylor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was, I guess, just walk through which, like, of those plays have been probably the most memorable or probably the most exhilarating, I guess.
Yeah. I think, obviously, the Utah game winner is one that I think that I'll probably take till I die, you know? Like, that's because it's just for the fans, what it meant for everyone else. And, like all the boys and everything. And I mean, you were there, right? Like it was unbelievable. Like the locker room afterwards. Like,
oh man,
they're the things that I say this all the time to the coaches. Like I like punting, but I like winning more, and I like getting around the boys and like that aspect of it for me. I think that's because I didn't grow up loving American football because I didn't know it, and so I've always been like I love team and sports and environments.
Most definitely, yeah.
So that's obviously going to forever be the best memory, I think. I don't think you can really top it. But the Baylor fake punt was just funny.
Talk about that, bro. Talk about the process, I guess, going into how we were going to deciding on running that play, how it got implemented and how it was called.
Yeah, it was just funny because Batty was probably my closest mate on the team last year because we're both just old, right? And I just remember going into that play, like he was meant to check out of it. And
I do remember that.
Yeah. And leading into that game, he said to me, like, Bruce, screw it. He's like, we're going to run it anyway, you know? And I was just like, all right, like you kind of have that recognition on the team where if you probably won't get in trouble. I will if I check into it, you know? And, you know, we ran it and we got it. And just afterwards, like all the boys were just so rowdy. And it was like a momentum shift because it was kind of like they were coming, you know, like they were pushing. And so even that, like, people are like, oh, you know, there's good punts that I guess have happened over the time, but that is just a memory I have just because of how everyone was.
Were you excited for that play specifically because obviously with your background, everyone knew and seen you in practice do it, and we know you can run. You have the legs. We know you can make people miss and do what you got to do to get the first down. Like, was that part of that excitement part of like, oh man, I really want to run this. We're gonna do it, and so.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and it's funny. I feel like they're less nerve wracking. Yeah. Like people are always like, oh, but if you don't get it, like they'll get the ball in the 30 or whatever. I just don't think about that. Yeah. Like I more just think that like when we get it, have fun. Like it just doesn't come into my mind. Like what
the
if we don't?
Side of it, for sure.
And so, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Like I think maybe the back of my mind. Like I just remember coming off the ground afterwards and being like, I didn't even know why I ran like that. You know, because I look back on it, I'm like, there was just patterns with the running, and I don't know. Like I guess it's just as you know. It's innate, maybe, like just in the back of the mind. Oh, for sure, yeah. And so it was just fun. Yeah.
What I love about that play, because if you go back and you actually watch that play, I love watching, like especially a play like that when it was a huge momentum swing for our team in that game, right? If you really look at that play, everyone, the effort, you know what I mean. The effort. You watch every single player, the effort that they are all putting in to just make this thing happen. You know what I mean, and the fact that. You probably should have checked out of it, but instead was like, no, we're going to run this. And to see someone like Batty get over there, and I think he picked up, was it the safety or the corner or someone that opened the hole for you to hit it and, did what you did. I think that's one thing to shout out, all the guys that are out on that field and, making that effort. You just show that it's really is a team effort. You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah. I've watched that fake so many times, and not even me. I just love watching all the guys like true. Bruce, like Batty laid someone out. Like it's just funny. Like I just laugh watching it because I'm just like, we executed it so well, but it was just flawless. Like the way that it was done in terms of everyone else, everyone everyone sort of credits the punter for that, but the reality is if someone misses an assignment, then it just falls to rubble. Like it's never going to work. So you've
been a part of some pretty what's that called, crazy special team plays or trick plays, I guess you can say, during your time here. I feel like we've ran so much more fakes and things of that sort since you and Will, came to the team, and I guess kind of talk about what happens throughout the week during the time when you guys are prepping, leading up to the game before you're running a specific play. Is it something that Coach K-Pop implements right then and there, or later on? I mean, I know the answer, but for everybody else, kind of what happens.
Well, it's funny. So when we ran, I nearly said the name of it, but when we ran that fake against UCF, I remember on the walkthrough on Monday, Pop, that was the first time Pop had even like mentioned it, and I'm like, mate, like there is no way like we can do this, just because. like you're asking me on a Monday to do that for the weekend's game. I'm like, no, like we'll practice it and we'll eventually get good at it. But I'm like, dude, like at least let me know earlier in the season so I get the under through the legs. And Will has told this many times, but when we practiced it, it was just terrible. Like I was just like, there's no way we can do this in a game, you know? And I was like, why not like throw it over my head or something? And he was like, no, like Coach Hill, like it has to be done this way. And I'm like, oh, righto, like we'll figure it out, you know? And then I think it was probably like 2 weeks. And we started to just, I mean, you saw like in practice, we're getting it all the time. And so like when we actually went out to do it against UCF, I knew it was going to work. I didn't know if we'd get the first down, if they'd pick it off or anything. But in terms of like Will and I's part, like me tossing it to him, I knew that we were going to do it sweet. But yeah, I remember just because Pop will come in on Monday, like I guess for the fans, Pop will come in on Monday and be like, oh, I saw this fake from
we're going to run
2004 that Weber State did against Utah. And I'm like, okay. And then we'll just implement it. I'm like, dude, football now, 20 years later is so different, but sure, we'll try it, you know? And so I think that's credit to Pop and Hill that they're just maniacs with watching film and they're always so creative of, we should try this, we should do this. And then obviously they trust us to execute, but at the end of the day, it's like their knowledge of just the game and special teams is huge. And I think all the boys love it too, which is sweet. You know, the guys want to do it. Like I remember even on the weekend, we had a couple fakes called and checked out of them, and all the boys like, like you could just the buzz,
the anticipation, more like we could possibly run the fake. I love it, and I think that's one thing that I do remember. You know, during the games when we know a fake is on, and everyone is just like laser focused. Like, is it gonna go, or are they gonna check out of it? And so it's definitely an exhilarating experience for the entire team, and it just goes to show how bought in and how just bought in everyone is to special teams and things of that sort. But you got a lot of things going on right now, Sam, obviously in your life, and I think let's dive deeper into your personal life. Obviously you're married, your wife Hallie, right? And so she's 9 months, basically 9 months pregnant right now.
It's
right?
9 months.
And we just talked before we started this. You said she was still working. For some reason, she's still out here working.
For some reason,
and like, I guess just talk about that, man. How things are going? How is it prepping to, be a dad? The excitement, things of that sort. Yeah, no,
I would say it's been like a weird experience in the sense that, I mean, you've been through it where like, I can be supportive all I want, but really I'm not really that supportive in the sense that I can't make her feel better.
There's not much you can do.
There's not much you can do.
For sure.
I think that's kind of the hard part when, she'll say, I'm cramping or this or that. And it's like, I want to like just do whatever, but there's really not much you can do. So that's kind of been like the weird part about it. But I mean, it's been sweet. Like, it's, I don't know how Hallie's, working 3 nights a week, night shift.
Crazy.
And I was saying to you earlier, like her dream scenario for whatever reason would be work night, Thursday night, and then Friday morning, just stay in the hospital and give birth. I'm like, dude, like, you're just not well. Like, I just don't know why you'd want to do that. But
she's Superwoman for sure, man.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that to her in like a compliment sense, like that she's just such a workhorse, But it's been good. It's been tough a little bit in terms of like balancing school and football and practice, and I guess not being able to like, even little things like go for walks with her and things like that, probably make her feel better that I can't really be a part of just with the schedule. But she's been a trooper throughout the whole thing. And I think in about a week or so, I'll have a little son arriving. So
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, very exciting.
That is super exciting. I went through the same thing last season. We had our daughter. She just turned 1, by the way.
Wow.
This past Monday.
Yeah.
Right. And so
that's crazy.
It's been a year. And then you remember like me going through that, having that, having her during the season was definitely tough. But what was crazy is that like I ended up getting an injury at that time. It was SMU. I ended up getting a knee injury and I was out for a couple of weeks, and it just so happened that she was born in those, couple of weeks that I was out, and I was able to be with my, my family and be with my wife during that time, which was a huge blessing in disguise now that I look back. But it's definitely tough, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like juggling, it definitely wasn't the best decision on our part to plan, and planning when it came to that. But, things happen for a reason, and it's been the most amazing thing, being a dad, and the fact that she's 1, I can't even believe she's 1 year old, 1 year old. I got a 1 year old, walking around, and she's just walking around a whole different person. It's so fun, man, just seeing them become their person. So every time I'm talking to the pops on the team, and which is crazy because like it's only here at BYU. I feel like you
100%.
You experience.
It's like weird if you don't have
guys
kids.
that have other kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of the best yeah, if not, it's probably the best thing part of life. You know what I mean? Just being a dad. And so, no, that's so awesome, brother. I mean, I guess before we close off, man, I guess the question is that I have for you is just basically what we always ask this to everybody that comes on here, man. And it's just what piece of advice that you have for, you know, kids that will probably were in your shoes, or maybe Cougar Nation kids that are aspiring to you know, make their dreams come true, or things that they're pursuing. What's probably the best advice that you've gotten that you would want to share with them?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of cliche, I guess, but like I feel like a lot of people are scared to pursue their dreams just because of outside noise or people saying it's far-fetched or whatever it may be. But I guess one of the things I learned, like I guess younger as a kid, is like. Like, what if it could be better than you ever imagined? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's never the question. It's always like, well, what if it doesn't work? Like, or wow, like I have to waste all this time and it doesn't, and I fail at it. You know, it's like, I just feel like you got to sort of ask yourself, what is it going to be like when you're 60 or 70 and you didn't pursue that dream? Like, how much regret would you feel? I think that's the mentality I've always had with anything. I'm like, I don't want to be like on my deathbed thinking, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I tried that. I wish I did this, you know? And I think the other thing too is just like mistakes are normal. Like even if it doesn't work out, I feel like you can be content knowing that you tried. And so my biggest advice would be, whether it's punting, being a running back, kicking, like whatever, pursuing a dream of whatever it may be. It's just like, it's good. I reckon it's just good to like reflect and ask yourself that question. Well, what if I don't try this, and how am I going to feel about it? You know, because I think that's where I've got friends back home that are just, I don't want to say like stuck in the mud, but sort of like just doing the same things over and over again. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it can't help but look at that and think like, are you not willing to try because you're worried about failing or what people think?
Yeah.
And I think that the less you can care about outside noise, eventually the more peace you'll feel anyway. You know, and so
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's just like, you just got to be willing to give it a crack. And yeah, I remember, you know, and obviously not to look at it selfishly, I guess my story, but like I remember there was days of ProKick where I'm like, man, like I can't do this. Like this is ridiculous. Like what am I doing? Like I'm going to be 25 when I'm a freshman. Like it's just, you know. But then I for me it was like I just looked at it as like a glass half full, you know, not half empty, in the sense that like, all right, well, it's here now. What could it be? And I think that I'm so lucky where I don't have any regret, you know. And even if I had like gone to Pitt, entered the portal, and never ended up anywhere else, it would have been cool to just say that I just did it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so I just think give it a crack.
Heck yeah. I'm horrible. There was actually one more question that I want to backtrack. I think we can edit this because I want to go back and ask you about this. But there's some things that I've heard about things that you like to do, but I kind of want to ask you, what are some of your hobbies that you do outside of football? I like to, Hallie and I say Hallie, I mean, of course, like Hallie and I love to go hiking and exploring and traveling. I backpacked solo for 3 months when I was 21. Isn't that how you met her, right? Yeah. So I didn't meet her on that trip, but I met her about a year after that. But that trip kind of facilitated the love for traveling. So I guess it is because of that trip. Yeah. And so I did a solo backpacking trip when I was 21 around America and Central America and a little bit of South America. And it was the best thing I've ever done, I think. Like, and even that, like referring to what you just asked me before about like what advice I would give and stuff. Like, I feel like I had a lot of people like hating on me for doing that trip, but I feel like if I never did that trip, I would have never fell in love with America. I would have probably never come back to America or even thought to maybe go there. Yeah. Then would have never met Hallie, and then I wouldn't be doing ProKick. Yeah, and, you know what crazy, I mean? And so it's funny how the world can work in those ways. Now, it's not like, that's not necessarily how it exactly would have gone had I not traveled or had I traveled, right? Yeah. But it also, I mean, it could also be the reason why this has all happened. You know what I mean? And so very much so. Yeah. So traveling, but yeah, I met Hallie in San Diego when I went back there about a year later. And so I think that just experiencing new cultures and, you know, getting out of your bubble and all that is just cool. And I just love meeting new people. And yeah, I don't know. It seems a bit boring really, my hobbies, but I just like doing new things, you know, and fitness stuff. Yeah. I feel like your advice that you shared earlier fits perfectly with as one of your mantras for your life, bro, because I feel like, after hearing your story, I've heard your story and we talked about it before. Yeah. It's just, not having, I guess, not caring about, opinions of others and just kind of just going for it. You know what I mean? Just, the dream that you have and you're just, full, metal to the pedal, just kind of like, or pedal to the metal, you're just like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to achieve this dream. And I felt like that's just the way you've lived your life and kind of has brought you so much success. You know what I mean? And so, I appreciate that, bro. That's been super cool that you're able to, have that perspective, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's kind of led to a lot of things that you've been able to, experience in this life, meeting your wife and all that sort, which is, dude, that's super awesome, man. Yeah. I think, Sam, again, bro, we just appreciate you seriously, man, for coming on here and just sharing your story. I know Cougar Nation is super happy to have you, man, and super blessed to have you. I know I'm happy to have met you. You probably get this a lot, bro, but your accent is so amazing. I feel like when I'm just talking to you, I'm sorry. Like, I think I got lost in like a lot of my questions and forgetting some of my questions because your accent is super cool.
Yeah. Was that I try a bit of mail on it when I'm on a podcast. I'm like,
was the accent part of how you swooned your wife? And
probably. I mean, it had to be something other than just me. So yeah, probably the accent.
Bro. You're a good looking dude, bro. Yeah. But again, brother, I appreciate you for coming on here and taking the time out of your schedule to, come out here and share your story and be an inspiration to, those watching. So thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Hey, y'all. Thanks again for watching another episode of Inside the Why presented by Center Street Media. Tune in to wherever you get your podcasts on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Yeah, there you go. Deuces. Appreciate it.